Hi, I'm morakdais, and I'm going to rant for a little bit. And this rant has to do with YouTube, media, and what we can do going forward. So, a long time ago, when they used to have one, you know, one or three panel comics, it was a big entertainment. So there wasn't much you could do about it. So it would be in the back of the New Yorker or like a small local publication. They just have a one panel comic or a three panel comic. And it wasn't a big thing. And then the media got more important. And suddenly regions had these comics, and they'd have a few comics, and the really good ones, even like Dr. Seuss and his political comics and other comics, became big and suddenly started getting a section in the paper. And then papers all across America would carry similar comics, and it was a big conglomeration of great comics. You could get, two papers, and you'd have, you know, big sets of comics with some mix and match in between, and you could see that there was a thriving media in it. Movie theaters are the same thing. It used to be you would sit in there like it was a TV, and you for some people it was almost unaffordable. And then during the Great Depression, around those times, it started becoming like nickel cinemas where you'd stay all day and just watch, and they'd have ads and all this stuff, and they'd put on sometimes movies and Looney Tunes and all of this great media that came out of it. And then they started doing multiple screens and bigger productions, and then they started only showing movies, and it became a bigger and bigger media source until we have megaplexes and all this stuff. Now at the same time, you had this TV idea inside movie theaters move into the home, and you get three channels maybe of broadcast, and it's no different than radio, but radio, uh, where you only had a few channels, and then cable came along and changed everything. It unified all of these channels together. It was a great source of unity, and they brought together a lot of channels, and people loved cable. It was the source for whatever you wanted to watch. Just you could switch around to Animal Planet, or you could switch to Fox, or you could switch to ABC or CNN or HBO, or all of these different channels, and it was amazing. It was mind-blowing to get that much media. You could have 100+ channels, and it was seen as the greatest thing. And then the digital revolution happened, and you started seeing all of these little sites with their GIFs and animations or short tutorial videos, and it was really the kind of stone age of the internet, where you'd go to different forums, you'd go to all of this, and then they started conglomerating, and you got things like E-Bombs World and like Sony Screen Blast, and I'm trying to remember one of the other ones. And then you got Newgrounds that really blew up, and it became a unifying source for artists. And these are artists who now today, in the biggest unifying force, which became YouTube, things like Salad Fingers and a few other short things like Happy Tree Friends and Dr. Tran and all that stuff came up into YouTube, and suddenly it was the thing. It was faster and more accurate and better organized, and you could subscribe to channels you liked. You had this wealth of people coming to it, and it was amazing. It was like the Wild West. You could see all sorts of stuff. And even E-Bombs World, couldn't compete with what YouTube was uploading every day and the kind of stuff you could find in there. It was just a billion channels, and you could subscribe and find out who's posting what, and a lot of it was reposts and FMVs and all sorts of craziness. And then YouTube said no violence. We're gonna cut down on all this murder porn going on, and that's fine. I get it. I get why they did it. It's difficult, and there was a whole section of just straight murder tube stuff. And then it kind of turned, and they said, okay, well, we're going to get rid of that. We're going to get rid of the sexually explicit content. And then they started putting ads, and then started getting rid of other stuff, and started hitting people hard with copyrights and pushing people to the edges. And all the FMVs were gone because the song was copyright, was something that was considered a copyright, or the animation was considered a copyright. And then all of these people who are creating this kind of weird, DBZ to Darude Sandstorm disappeared overnight. And for a while, YouTube became a desert, where other than some little content, it was basically like they committed the Cambrian extinction on YouTube, and it was kind of dying, and it was able to kind of come back. And in all honesty, for me, it was things like Awful Vision, Spoony One, these people kind of blowing up the scene in terms of hilarious, great content. Um, and then it kind of changed. They added ads, and people started complaining about ads, and it was a step that was necessary before long. The platform needed some source of income, and I get ads. I get the introduction of ads. It made sense. It was a way for YouTube to make money. It was a way for content creators to make money. And this was, kind of at a time where YouTube just took your content for free, and you gave it free and willingly. I mean, I was one of those people, and that's fine. That was a good step. And then the biggest problem from there wasn't the Adpocalypse and stuff. Before the Adpocalypse, the biggest problem I see was the addition of the notification bell. And the notification bell is nonsensical. It needs to be gone. It needs to stop, because if I subscribe to someone, I want to watch their content. I don't need a notification of when they're doing something. No, I'm going to click on my subscriptions and see what they've posted, because that's what I want. I don't need to, I need a notification alert on my phone that someone is. No, I'm going to check YouTube, because for a lot of people, YouTube is a daily thing. I watch YouTube every day. I watch movies, I watch TV shows, I watch, whatever it is, I watch it. It's there. That's it. YouTube is my cable TV. And for me, I don't have cable. I don't have any of that. I watch everything through YouTube. And there's a creeping that started happening. And once the notification bell was set, there was a creeping of basically commercial companies coming in to YouTube. People who had their own ad revenue outside of it, and then essentially recycled their content onto YouTube. So you get your Stephen Colbert, your VEVO, your Jimmy Kimmel, and your Discovery Channel, and things like that just started invading YouTube, because cable TV was dying, and it still is kind of dying. It's not 100% gone, because there's still people who watch it, but YouTube was really pushing cable away. It was saying, you can upload a half an hour of your show. The 10 and 15 minute time limits are up. You can post a 2-hour long movie. You can do these great things. And companies creeped in and pushed normal content creators to the side. You definitely see their effect really hard today, where I get more offers to watch things that I don't watch anymore, like Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel and whatever his name is, the guy who sings in the car. And I don't want to watch that. Like, I'd rather watch like the Hydraulic Press channel, or watch iDubbbz, or watch an H3H3, or watch other content creators like LNRA or All Dragon, or tons of other creators make content, than watch VEVO. I think I've watched VEVO twice. And the sad part is that something will be posted to YouTube VEVO, which technically, if you use sound or anything from a YouTube video under their guidelines, that's perfectly fine. But if you have music from that creator in your video, even though they've posted it to YouTube for free, they can steal your money. And they can say, no, you get a copyright strike for using our music that we put on your free to watch whenever we want platform, but you can get a content strike for that, or we can take your ad revenue instead. And that's terrible. And then the adpocalypse happened, and now most people, I mean, you can say, that's why I'm trying not to curse in this video, so that way everyone gets a fair shake to watch it. Um, that basically they ruin everything because anything could be deemed as that. I've had videos where I don't curse and I still get hit with it, or something happens in a video game I'm playing, and that's enough to set off their sensors to say you can't watch this anymore. I actually, there are words and terms that I have to avoid saying because the algorithm will pick it up and it will say it. A perfect example is a word that begins with G and ends and sounds just like fun. If you say that in a video, you can lose your ad revenue. You can be demonetized for saying that word. Something that we're legally allowed to own in the United States, you can't say on YouTube without getting demonetized. And I get that it's meant for penalization of their creators, but the Adpocalypse just destroyed channels, and it made people flee to places like Twitch, or flee to other services, even though their services really aren't that good. But YouTube is just ruining it as much as possible. They're trying to make their platform so unpalatable that nobody wants to be on this platform except for cable companies. You know, from big media, basically big media. I mean, if they could, they would just run commercials nonstop. And you see people just game the system all the time. And what's worse is that in the React, the whole React wave, which a lot of people probably already forgot about, in the React wave, there were people trying to come after other smaller YouTube channels, people who had started as small channels and then built themselves up into a little media, the YouTube media empire, and then gone after people who do the same thing that they do. And there are people who still try to sue people over YouTube videos and all sorts of nonsense, and it's crazy. Like, YouTube doesn't put its foot down for any of this. It doesn't stand up for people who get attack slandered, or people who or considered to be attacking someone and slandering them and all that kind of stuff. Basically, half of the crazy big lawsuits I've seen of stupid YouTubers, people be like, he said something mean about me. YouTube doesn't care to protect their users or even get involved. They're like, no, that's none of our business. And then turn around and say, okay, well, notification bell, we've decided to change the entire algorithm of the notification bell. So if you're subscribed to this channel, which we like, which is part of a big media company, or we get a lot of ad revenue from them, then yeah, you'll see that content first. You'll know about that, and we'll make sure everybody gets it. But if you're a smaller channel, we're only going to alert maybe like 2 or 3 people who are actually on your channel list. We're just going to go ahead and do that because that's perfectly fine. I mean, we're just gonna tinker with it just a little bit. We're just gonna gear it up a little bit to make it the way that we want it to be. Which is why I loathe the notification bell. I think it's absolutely pointless. It's a redundancy, and so many channels left during the Adpocalypse, during the React drama, and then one of their stars, the Gangnam Style, PewDiePie, huge names, who, of course, we all know who that is, who tases an animal, who shows a dead body and laughs about it, is given almost nothing. But now there's another wave of bannings for people who've said words. And it's despicable. Someone can laugh at a dead human being, and YouTube says, oh, well, here's a little 30 days. Just punishing him from his $500,000 revenue. That'll show him not to do it, and then what? Not even 2 weeks later, another thing? And they don't even say anything about it. They're just like, what are we gonna do? Oh, and now we're gonna ban these channels because we don't like their point of view. We don't like what they have to say. We don't believe in their political opinion. we don't like what they're saying about some race, religion, ethnicity, whatever. But these people who are doing the exact same thing, they're bigger, or they're pushing the correct narrative, so that's fine. And you see it all the time with demonetization. If it's not one thing, it's another. And it's really sad that now even your subscriptions, so your subscribers will have to hit the subscribe button, then hit the notification button, the notification bell, and then they have to game the YouTube algorithm to get first slot in your subscription feed. So not only do you have to probably like everyone's video, you have to smash that like button, and then hit that bell for all the notifications, and then make sure to subscribe in order to get your place on it. And even then, you'll lose out to someone like VEVO or some other garbage YouTube wants to promote, because that's the way it works. They don't care about you. And it's time that YouTubers in general, like, I hope everybody shares this video, even though I've been ranting for far too long, 16 minutes too long, that everyone who is on YouTube should get together to get these people out of YouTube, to get these people who are making these terrible decisions out of YouTube. Whenever I watch their Creators Corner nonsense, it's worse every single time. And they look at the camera and they know what they're doing is wrong. They know it is. Like, they absolutely know that it's the bad decision, because it's a financial decision. It's not about creators. It's not a YouTube. It's a business tube. It's dollars tube. And you know what? This video is probably going to be flagged for demonetization just because I said nasty things. Or maybe my channel will disappear. Who knows? I don't really care. Because at this point, YouTube has lost its nut. And it can't survive like this. I really wish there was another place I could go. Another channel. All the people who work so hard and create content that might be seen as controversial or might be considered gross or, you know, potentially dangerous or whatever they're doing might disappear entirely just because it's YouTube's win. And now that I know that more people that I've subscribed to and hit the stupid notification bell for are gone, and people I know who post their videos, they're disappearing too. And now what are we going to do for media? What's the next jump? Because at this point, YouTube is becoming like broadcast TV. And soon somebody's going to come by with cable that's better, that doesn't censor people, that works hard to work with their creators to make it a better place. Cable really didn't do that. Cable was kind of despicable, and Comcast took over, and they're monsters. So YouTube, don't be like Comcast. Don't be like Comcast. That's all.